because every individual, I believe, puts in a best effort in taking the case. There is no doubt about it at all. Undoubted. Because I can see people putting efforts. Only thing is that polishing is needed, that little bit of molding is needed, which will eventually make it much more shined product. That's all that we are doing over here. So here when you're introducing yourself, even one of the question, I can take that thing together with this also. Greet the patient. Address her with namaste. Now greet the patient means what? Again, you are trying to dilute that person's actual state of individuality in the moment of time. The idea is the most important idea, I'll tell you. Very, very important. Please do not dilute the state of an individual in that moment of time. Nothing should be done which will dilute the state of mind and body, conscious and subconscious, thoughts and ideas. Should not dilute mind and body, conscious and subconscious, thoughts, ideas and imaginations of an individual in that moment of time. So please do not do anything that is going to simply dilute this. Why I tell you? Because the person has come to you for a particular pathology. He has got clusters of symptoms behind that pathology that he is trying to recollect and revive. There can be a story from where this particular symptoms and pathology is developed. And there can be definitely hidden emotions. And so therefore the combination of pathology, symptoms, story and emotion, the picture that is being created in that moment of time, the sequence of the picture, that ripples by your greeting, welcoming, introducing, simply disturbs that ripple. And the best thing to do is allow the person to wait in the waiting room for at least 5 to 7 minutes. Especially with those people who are from Cosmopolitan, because they have come with all the hassle and bustle of the traffic and everything that they have come with. Let them just settle themselves. Let constantly a classical music silently being played in the clinic helps a long way through. The classical music, let it be playing while they are in the waiting room. Do not do too much of talking with the patient. When they come, welcome them, tell them just be seated, relax yourself, give them water, let them sit down. You be busy in doing your work, the attendant, and just observe what the person is doing at that moment of time in those 5 to 7 minutes. This is called as the first hand information. How we call FIR, na? So this is the first hand information. The first hand information gives you the purity of that person before even he can think and talk. And many a times you might get good clues. He might put in some questions to your attender. That itself can also be good clues. He might even come inside and give you some questions or ask some questions. So not necessarily every time the conversation begins with you asking a question. Remember, there are people who can ask you questions before you can even start taking the case. Or they might tell you something completely weird, not pertaining to the subject at all. You are sitting down over there for case taking. Patient is not aware about what case taking is. So the patient might ask you some questions, or patient, like for example, the current situation, patient might talk something about coronavirus. They might give you desperation of the situation. You don't know. Somebody might give you a controlled state of oneself in this state, in this particular current situation. I think media has made a big hype of it. You can expect anything. You do not know. So likewise, in our day-to-day life, people come with different things. Not everybody will be sitting down and you are asking a question. Therefore, I would say that space is very, very important to see what is happening. That space speaks beautiful. As a beginner, because not too many patients, many of us will not be even having attenders to do that thing, right? So the conducive environment is not there, because because at certain age or certain period of time in practice, people come by hearsay and listening to others, and the story is already being said that this is how the whole protocol will be, right? So as a beginner, but then what happens is, in a couple of years, you slowly, steadily try to implement this gradually in this manner that the person gets that breathing space when you are not there. So beginning time, you can make the person sit in front of you, and whole process of whatever has been told now can be done in presence of you. Some people have got a typical pattern of beginning the conversation. Yes. Right? But very soon they are so clear in their senses that they immediately start deviating from getting attached. That is each one's, that's why this particular aspect is each one's skill. Here skill comes, here there is no pattern that this has to be the correct thing. This is cases after cases. What we see is, when a person has finished narrating, there is no expression. He is simply waiting for you to go ahead. Eye to eye contact is there. No other thing is there. You can see the expression, straight away looking at you, waiting for you to ask the further question. But if a person has not finished, will give you all sorts of hasty movements, looking here and there, fidgetiness, the eyes looking as if there is a question mark, not yet finished, and thinking something. At times maybe even closing their eyes. So these expressions gives you the idea, which we have all done during our oral exams, na? Where we are trying to think, and we are trying to break the finger knuckles, trying to scratch our head, and all these things we are doing when we are thinking that I have to still tell something more. So the same expression comes from the patient's point of view, to get an idea that that is the time when you have to take a pause. Wait, person is not yet finished. And in spite of that, if the person is still thinking, what you can do if you are really restless inside, should I ask a question or no? The best thing is to do is right? It just gives a gentle push to that thought. It's like simply when we are going to a hill station, we apply another engine, na? Extra engine to climb the hill. So this is just like extra engine. Haha. Just this much. So it just gives a boost to that thought. Not allowing it to fade away, but uplifting that thing so that it can give you something. And at times you will see people will talk which is not intended to. Because that has created something in them to spark something that is little deeper. And then they suddenly say. How, for example, 1 minute, Pankaj, 1 minute. How, for example, if there is a buzzer for a time and you have to answer something, what you intend to talk and what you are talking is completely different. You are caught offhand. So that this creates a buzzer. The person in front is waiting for me to talk something more. So I immediately come up with something which is completely out of context, out of knowledge, out of proportion, out of situation, out of time. Strange, weird. And then the conscious comes. Sorry, I did not want to tell that. No problem. Then pick it up. No problem. Respect it. Your mistakes are my treasures. In your mind, you should say, I want you to make mistake, boss. I'm not here to make you tell me correct things. And then when you pick it up, you'll see completely a different ball game from there. Then there is no need of chief complaint even if that person has not said. And once the patient starts talking, once you say then you keep silent. Then you don't and keep on doing You know that Fevicol ka ad, na? He puts 5 dots of that Fevicol and puts that stick into the water. And the fish gets stuck up. And the poor fellow who has put the net for hours together, still there is no fish. Because every time he is picking it up and putting it in some other place. So that is the thing. Na? So once the person is on track, don't disturb. Let it go. That's where the first line of 84 aphorism comes. The patient narrates his history. The patient keeps silence himself. A little, if you have to modify that aphorism, then you should make it in this way. If at all the person has stopped hitherto looking at his expression that he has not finished, use this abstract sounds of so that the person continues to talk further. Right? So these are the simple techniques which we are using in our day-to-day life. As a mother or as a child, we have heard about it. But simply that has to be put into practice while we are using these tools in our regular day-to-day case taking. Are you all there? Yeah, I hope all are getting this, especially the newcomers. Make a notes of it when you all come to Konkan. Definitely you all will get this feel of what exactly is to be done. If we do not have a proper start, na, whatever years of practice you have, still you will have a big time problem. You see kite flying, till the time you initially don't get that proper air for it to really actually be in the sky, you are trying and trying. If you do not get that right angle and right this thing to get that proper air for it to for the kite to fly, you will do day in day out, फिर भी वो पतंग उड़ेगा ही नहीं, तो डुबकी खाएगा नीचे. Because the initial step is very, very important. That's the reason why today I had made up a mind to write down this thing, and if at all it continues, I told Priyanka also, if it continues to next session, no problem. But the initial take, 100 meters, personally have been there for nearly 6-7 years, and the most important thing for 100 meters is your start. 100-meter race. If your start is not good, finished, you're over and out for that race completely. Your first step is very important for the 100-meter race. It's not like marathon. Marathon runners are completely different from sprinters, where the sprinters put the pressure on the toes to take a takeoff. Marathon runners always have the lateral side of their feet, which takes their long distance running. That's the difference. If a sprinter has to have the lateral aspect of the foot, he's gone. So what is the important thing for us here is how you have to take off. If your takeoff is a problem, then we have a big time problem, because this is, all of us face this, how to start the conversation with a given individual. That's why I'm taking some number of time, is simply because whatever our queries are, solve it here. Let us all together learn. We are having this problem day in, day out. You can imagine after decades and decades of practice also, this is a big time problem. Every day you do not know whether the takeoff is going to be proper or no. You are still dicey. And therefore this is very, very important. What to do, what not to do, when to take a pause, when not to take a pause, when to push in a question, when to use the sound, when to stop using that. Where am I in the case at the beginning? What is the body language? Where am I in the case in the beginning is very important. Very, very important. If I do not know where am I, you're lost big time. That's why your special senses in the beginning 10 minutes of the case should be super alert. Keenly watching, it's like called as Hawkeye. Keenly watch the aroma that the person sends, the aura that the person is giving, the expression on the face, the way of talking, the area what the person is interested in. All matters a lot. That's why we say, when a person is talking, we should understand what is the intent, what is the intention behind the talk, where is the talk going, what way is he looking, what way is he talking, yes or no? Because that's very important. If we miss out that and we have a stringent formula in our mind, this is the way how I have to take the case, you lose that. So you are missing to be interested into what the other person is interested in. As a physician, you have to be interested in the patient's interest, not what your interests are. And therefore, day before yesterday, we were talking about understanding the issue of the person. That's the main trunk. All other things are the branches. If you understand the issue, iska mudda kya hai, if this you understand, then all your problems are solved. There may be a big story of a person, but behind that story there is one major issue which runs through and through in that story. Many of us had this problem, where to see. Where to see what is the issue of this person. Once you understand what is the issue, then you will see behind that issue what is the perception. How is he perceiving that issue? Behind that perception is how is he responding to that perception of his, which can clearly be seen. That's what I call it as function. That's where in the last case where we missed was helping out with giving tea to his friends or whatever the person is. And we have lost in the story because we have forgotten to see where is the issue. Are you getting? हर एक का जीवन में मुद्दा रहता है और मुद्दे के पीछे वो जिस तरह से देखता है वो इम्पोर्टेंट है और देखने के पीछे वो क्या कर रहा है. So the issue behind that is the perception of that issue. Behind that is what is he doing towards eventually responding towards that issue. Everybody would do this. I'll tell you, everybody would do this. So do not look at simply the story. As I said, pathology, symptoms, story, emotions. Then comes the dreams, delusions, hobbies, interests and all accessory to that particular main thing. But the main thing we understand, person will come with the pathology. That pathology will have a description with the symptoms. In that symptom, there will be a story from where that pathology has developed or what is happening in his life, day-to-day life. In that, there will be emotions as humanly, right? From there, you see what is the main issue, main mudda kya hai. From that, you see what way is he perceiving, किस तरह से वो परख रहा है. From that, you see what is the response that he is giving to those issues. क्या कर रहा है वो issue के साथ. Because response or the function can be easily seen. And when you explore that, वो क्या कर रहा है इसको अगर हम बरोबर से explore करते हैं, we explore that whole thing till the core of experience, then the opposite of that is what is his deeper essence. Any questions with anybody? Be clear about all these things. Very, very important.